But by the same token, in the school system, if we done something, we respected our teachers. If we done something wrong, you got sent to the principal, you got paddled. There wasn't a yes and N. That's a no-no now.
Yeah.
And, you know, to me, that was a good deal. A good illustration, we had a teacher that she taught third grade. And a friend of mine, older than mine, when he went in third grade, they had a guy, you could fail kids back then. They had to stay in the same class twice. They had a guy that should have been in fourth grade, was in third. And so the first day of school, he went to school, and he was more of a bully than anybody else. And the teacher, they done something anyway, things didn't go right. She went back there and got him, put his head between her legs, and paddled him right there. She didn't have any more problem with him or any other kid in class the whole year. Now, we had a young man that upset his class. They had to take him out, take him to the principal's office, call the police. The police had to come and get him and take him home. Not once. That's happened 4 or 5 times.
Oh, wow.
Now tell me which is the best solution. No, I'm not trying to be hard, but really.
That's how I grew up. That's the school system in which I grew up. Teacher would just discipline as necessary, and it was for the better, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, Uncle Wheez. It's both have pros and cons, and I don't weigh in on one side or the other. There's things in which I agree with Republicans and things with which I agree with the Democratic Party. I don't agree 100% with either one.
I'm with you. I think they're both crooks. I honest I do,
Yeah.
really. And when I go to vote, when I go to vote, I usually vote for somebody that's not in office. If they're in office, I think they're a crook. But anyway, I think, you may not agree with me here, but I think Trump's on the right track. I like what he's doing, going back to the Bible, going back to a little bit of religion. I certainly think our country needs that. And if you believe in the Bible, and I do, wholeheartedly, it says we're going to have wars, rumors of wars. We're going to have them. There ain't any, to me, there's no ifs and ands about it. We're just going to have them. And so consequently, I look at it that way. Trump, on these tariffs, the Chinese own a little over $1 trillion in our bonds. Now, $1 trillion of bonds of our country. That's the difference in balance of payments.
Yeah.
And I think he's on the right track by these tariffs. They've got to be changed. You know, we've got to be more on the line. What would happen if the Chinese came in and said, we want the money for our bonds?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, the only place that our government's got to get money is from us. And if they're going to pay the Chinese off, then we're going to have to do it.
But we don't have
No,
that kind of money.
we don't have it.
So,
And the Chinese, now, their economy's going down the drain now. And they don't want to cash your bonds in. And if you got a bond and you can't sell it at 3%, but you can at 2%, you hate to take a third less for it. And they don't want to do that.
yeah.
So we're at an impasse.
Yeah.
So and the Chinese people, Chuck does business in China. His pajama business.
Okay.
And it's big business. He's got a Chinese hard that looks after their interest in China. And the Chinese economy has came up enough in the last 5 years that their standard of livings came up. Many of the farmers have moved to town because they get paid better in town and they don't have to work as hard, better living quarters. And but the economy, since their wages have came up and these tariffs, they're charging more for their goods than they're used to. The goods Chuck's buying, price-wise went up. So the Chinese businessmen have went to Vietnam, Cambodia, India, and built new factories. They're owned by Chinese. The Chinese still make the goods and loom them, and then they send the goods to these factories and there's no tariffs going to these countries.
Okay.
These countries can make the material. There's no tariffs from them to us. So that's the way everybody's going. So I think that Trump's on the right track. I think it's going to be very difficult to get it done, but I think it's long overdue.
Yeah.
And I'm probably, you may not agree with it, but that's the way I look at it.
What do you think of his character?
He'd be better off if he kept his mouth shut. I agree with you. I don't disagree.
Yeah. Sometimes it's difficult for me to separate the two. The policy from the person and the character. Maybe I'd be better off if I didn't care so much about the person and the man, the type of man that I see in him than the policy, but it's...
Well, the thing that really deeply upsets me is that I think we've got a bunch of elected officials that care less about the United States. All they're interested in is being elected, reelected, and the power that they have. And I think we've got a tremendous amount of people in the Senate and the House of Representatives that's that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that needs changed. I don't think either party's going to do it. The Democrats, you don't hear them say something about our country. They say something about the Republicans,
Right.
or what they want to do.
Right.
Same thing for Republicans.
Sure.
So I think we're at an impasse where we're at. And you said, who do I think's going to have an uprising? This thing with the Confederates wanting to get rid of their statues, that's terrible. That's part of history. That's terrible, getting rid of them. Or I think it was.
Well, I guess it depends on which part of history you're talking about, because in some of those instances, I don't know each and every one of them, but I know a few of them. Those statues only went up in the 50s and 60s, at the height of the civil rights movement, as if to wave that Confederate flag in the faces of the blacks who were trying to gain some civil rights for themselves. Had it been a statue that, following the Civil War, went up in memory of those fallen soldiers then I would say, yeah, that's a part of history. But I guess I look at it a little more critically and wonder, first of all, when that statue went up, and secondly, what was the purpose? Was it in memory of the Confederate troops, or was it just a